Okay, good afternoon. Hope everyone is well. Thursday, feels like a Friday for some reason. Thursday. So, quite a fair amount of movement overnight, actually. We seem to be kind of ranging and we've dropped out. So, whether this thing is going up or not, but looking at Bookmap, we've got kind of a mixed bag. We've got some down here at 35, quite a chunk at 30. And up here at 60. So whether this thing is just kind of ranging or not, but my gut feeling is we're moving down. There is liquidity at 60, and there's quite a lot around this area as well. So my guess is we have a couple of legs up, possibly something down. So market is alive. So second entry short there, wouldn't take that. It's too early. I wanted to test this or at least get into this area. If you look at Bookmap, there are loads of orders in this area here. So for me, it's a city and a waity time. Ben, how you doing, mate? Yeah, there's loads of orders. That's the thing when the market opens, people stick orders. I mean, there's orders up to 60, right the way down to about 40. So there's a massive orders in this area. So you can clearly see them all popping up. So there's not really much you can do, but we have a channel up there with the break. Maybe we have two legs down and a push up. It's hard to say at the moment, but it's still early. So, Daryl, how you doing? So, good day yesterday. Nice trade. Like to see Mac marked it as well. Nice triple test stroke, second entry long. Worked really nice. Nice when they're really obvious, nice and clean, and they work nice. You don't get a huge amount of them nowadays. Well, not that I see. So let's have a look. So looking at Bookmap now, a lot of those orders here have died out. Have you noticed? They're down here at 35. So for me, as this price starts to work down, traders are probably thinking, well, there's no point in two legs up and let's get in here. This thing seems to be coming down. So we've got orders at 35 and 30. 30 down here and 35. So my guess is we're probably going to see these lower areas. Now, I've messed around with a few channels here, and in all honesty, I'm not really sure what I think. You may go from right the way up here, in which case we got, I don't know, actually, it's not super clear. What I will say, I marked that one. That was an absolute beauty, but that was, I wasn't at the chart then. Clear second entry short worked really nice. But I don't know what's going on there, whether it's something like that. It's hard to say. Trouble is, if you haven't got your channel right, or you're unsure about your channel, it's hard to know where price is going to go, in all honesty. I've looked at Thomas's, and I've looked at Dan's. In fact, Dan hasn't got his an image up as of yet. That I can see, unless he put one up earlier. Can't see. So I don't know, actually. I'm a little bit kind of unsure what I think is going on here, whether there is something bigger. Trouble is, if there is something bigger, price could get up here. So if we, if we're going to get in short with something like that, it could just kind of rocket up. So let's put those orders back in at 60. They're starting to come alive a little bit, which is here. I don't know whether price will get that high. Certainly would have said around this area, so around the 50 mark. Have we got any around the 50? There are orders around the 50, not a huge amount, but there are orders two legs up around this area. So there is a good chance this could come back, but depending on how you're looking at this, we've got a break out of it here. So still strong orders at 35. Let's put that out of the way. Let's use this. So I think there's a good chance price comes down. So there's orders at 35, around about that area, and there are orders down here. So I think there's a good chance this is going to come down. So two little legs up and a bearish bar. That's not too bad, I don't think. I'd prefer to get a bit higher. I'm just going to sit tight at the moment. It's 18 ticks. It's a bit vague. If we're pulling up here, I'd expect to go a little bit higher towards this top of the channel, if that's indeed what it is. It was 18 ticks, tick above, tick below. It's 20 tick risk. I ain't taking that at the moment. It's just a little bit too early. As I say, I can see orders at 60. There's not a huge amount up here, so maybe it will work. It's 18 ticks. See if we get a lower high. Is there a lower high here? No, there isn't really, is there? See if we get a lower high. The good thing is we haven't got much in the way of here now, so it may not put... Well, it worked anyway. So it's hard to know how you've got your channel. You took it, yeah. I'm just unsure about how my channel is. If it's up here, see, could be a break. You know what I mean? I'm just not sure. That actually doesn't look too bad. Yeah, the trouble is, mate, it doesn't look like a bad trade. The trouble is I'm not sure where my chart is. I'm not sure whether it's a break or we've already had a break. So I tend to, regardless if I think it's a good setup, just kind of leave it. But I mean, it worked nice. No argument there. But is it this? And there's our break, or is it this? I know Dan said he's got it as already a break new extreme, so maybe it's a break. It's hard to say at the moment. I'm not super clear, so which is why I left it. And obviously the size of it as well. If you're not sure on a trade, and it's 5 or 6 ticks, and I'd say, yeah, have a go at it. Yeah, absolutely, mate. What I like about it is it's triggered a bull bar. It ticked above a bull bar and almost got it to the lows. And we are sort of testing this underside. I think Dan took it by the looks of things. So you may argue it's a possible triple test, possibly, but the thing is, as you adapt your channels, some things at a later stage can look even better. Now, if we end up adjusting the channel to do that, then that might be a lot better, you know. So it's hard to say, really. So that's the only reason I left it, not because I didn't necessarily think it was a good setup. I was just unsure of what I was looking at here. But what I did like is there's not many orders above it in Bookmap. So, you know, as we know, orders up here will draw price towards it, and we didn't have them. So that was another thing going for it. So good on you, mate. So where are we now? So orders at 37. So I expect a little pullback here, and then possibly. So we knew there was strong buyers down here, and look what's happened. It has worked its way down. So and how nice it worked. So let's get rid of that now. So strong orders at 30, as we can see, clearly see that. Okay, so Dan's put his chart now. So Dan has gone with that. Yeah, I did put it like that temporarily. We've already had a break and a new low then, but it does seem to be continuing down. In which case we could end up having something slightly different here, but it's just not super clear at the moment, so I tend to go a bit over, a little bit overprotective. So you can see orders there between 5 and 7, can't you? So between 5 and 7. Which is around about here. So there's 5 and there's 7. So orders around there. Now that kind of would make sense to have a pullback. But is this thing going to continue down? Could be there. Could be there. Trouble is, it's not an exact science, this. That doesn't look too bad. We've had that big push down. We've had a few touches there and a touch there. In fact, I had something like that a bit earlier. And that looks okay to me, doesn't it? So we got orders here, which is a couple of legs back up to here and then possibly down some more. We've got a little bit of congestion here, so if we can get a little pop-up, clear out maybe a bit of liquidity here, we may get something. Yeah, it's a shame I wasn't here then. I'd have taken that for sure. 2 lovely legs back, and look how well it worked. You'd have been in and out of that in one bar. So those orders at 30 have been filled and looks like absorbed. It's hard to say. It may push back now, actually. But as we push through it, you can see those aggressive sellers trying to push it further down. There is more orders about 26, which is around about there. Those orders at 35 are starting to fade. They are still there. And there is orders at 50 back up here. So that actually doesn't look too bad. As I say, it's not an exact science. Could be there. In fact, that actually looks a little better, I think. It's not super clear, is it? So I go on this channel, see if it makes it look any better. The trouble is, if you've not got it right and you're questioning yourself, I think you're best off sometimes sitting tight and staying out of stuff. Yeah, I actually think it looks better from there, personally. There's a bit of a... That just looks like 2 legs down, and then we pull back up and test this a few times, drop down, test it again, and then we follow down. So I actually prefer that. It looks a little bit neater to me, I think, personally. The bottom looks better. Yeah, as I say, it's not an exact science, is it? I had a nightmare with that second entry short initially. My ATM was set up with a 3-point stop and immediately hit before. Yeah, I've messed around with my stop, but if you look at mine now, I've got mine set back 25 ticks, which is, it's about 6 points in it, something like that. If it did shoot up on one contract, that would be a $300 loss if for some reason it freaked out and just literally spazzed out and shot up. But I like to give it enough space. So it's rare it happens that you jump in and it shoots back on you, but it can do. But I only have one contract, so at very worst, if it flipped out on me, it would be a $300 loss, and that wouldn't do me any real damage. Yeah, that's the trouble, really, isn't it? There's probably some software out there which will automatically set up for patch that, you know, if you dropped it in, it automatically would go to the previous, you know, previous bar. There's probably something out there. In fact, I see Mac messing around with a couple of them. I don't know exactly what they do. I think you've got to be part of his website to do that, which I have in the past twice. So I've been trading now 5 years, and I think initially after 4.5 years, I did a year. Then I think I missed a year, and then I had another year. I think it's always good to go back and go over the basics and just maybe clear up a few bad habits. So 15 now. So this to me looks like this is continuing down. So let me just have a look at this. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, this line I've done, it does, you know, it does work this. When I first started to learn currency, this is the first thing we did. We went onto a line chart and put in areas of support and resistance, and you can clearly see this line here. You can clearly see we've gone up to it 3 times there. We've bounced off it there. I mean, it's not perfect, but I can adjust it ever so slightly. And here we kind of bounced around it. So, you know, these do play a role, don't they, if you look further back? Obviously, once you get into new territory, it's not that straightforward, but I actually like that. That's working down. And not only does it fit, it visually looks okay as well, I think. I like the way we've pushed below the EMA, and you can see we're touching the midline. The midline seems to be, it's not perfect, but there is a bit of a role it's playing. Is it really? Do you know, I've had arguments in there. I have once or twice before. I went in there once and put a question, and someone gave me a right dressing down, said I was running Mac down, and I went, no, I wasn't. I absolutely respect Mac. Absolutely. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he does, but that's okay. You know, it's okay to disagree with someone and still like him and have respect for him. My best and oldest friend, we got completely different views on politics, and we can argue like crazy, but I love the guy a bit. He's my best friend. It's okay to disagree with stuff, but some people get very protective over Mac. Yeah, I get it. But I've got nothing but respect for the guy. You know, he got me into what I believe is a great strategy. And I was taught by a guy who charged me $125 a year. There's very few people like that are willing to give you one hell of a fair deal. And they were decent people. Now I've had experience. I can speak up and I can speak my mind a bit. And, I wish he'd talk about losing trades a bit more. Respect to him. He has put a couple of losses on, which people are sending in, which I think is great. I think you actually get more value from that personally. But yeah, I put a comment or two in and I got ripped to pieces. I just left it. In fact, I gave the guy a little bit back, and then I think Eric came in and just said, come on, lads, calm down. And that was kind of the end of it. There is a lot of Mac extremists. I get people get protective over people. Don't get me wrong. I think the guy's an absolute gentleman. I think the small price he pays, I've recommended him to a lot of people. Why? Because I think it's a good strategy and he's not going to rip you off. But yeah, people do get a bit protective over it. Yeah, I get it. I understand. I've been around for a few years. I understand how life works a little bit. So 2 little legs up now. Would I take a short here? My slight concern here is there are some orders on Bookmap around about 30, which are quite strong. There's 115 contracts, I'm assuming, at 30. So I would probably avoid this. 30 would get us up to the top of this channel. So I would say I would not want to get into a trade below there just at the moment with what Bookmap's showing me. Let's have a look. Yeah, so it's around about 30, so it's somewhere around about that. If I put half a point above and half a point below, so it's this sort of area. That is a second entry short, but I'm going to avoid it purely because of those orders at 30. Now, it may not make a damn bit of difference. It may push down. If there's enough aggressive sellers, it'll push down. But for me, it's a little bit risky. And I tend to trust Bookmap now. It's saved my bacon a few times. My bacon being my neck. I forget sometimes we have a few sayings over here, which some of you US guys might not understand. But yeah, you could argue that there's a little bit of a channel there. Sometimes they just work anyway. If sellers like it, they'll do it. Just because there are sellers up here doesn't necessarily mean. But what I like is we've had a push up and a pull back. We may get up again. What I will say is if there's the bottom of the channel, there's the bottom of a channel. We're not quite at the bottom here. So when that happens, sometimes we do get a bit of a break. And being this up here, 2 legs up, that would look quite nice. I wouldn't take that as a lower high because I don't think we've made a high here. So this is just saying there's a few alarm bells here. Now on my second chart, there's a failure there. So for me, we could get a leg and a leg. And while these orders here, I'm just sitting tight here because I think that may get stopped out. I'm convinced it's going to, yeah. So same again, Bookmap saves my arse. Let's have a look. So you'd have got about 2.5 points off that. Now, this is, what is going on here? Now, those orders are there at 30, so I'm going to get an order ready. I would prefer this to come up a little bit more, and I'm going to avoid this. It actually doesn't look that bad, but I'm going to avoid it because I can see orders up here. They're not super strong, and that is pretty bearish, so I'm guessing sellers are going to jump on that. Regardless of this, we clearly had 2 legs up and then a fair drop, but it's 26 ticks. And I'm going to avoid it purely because of that, and because of these orders. You don't want to get a 26 tick trade wrong, that's for certain. That's going to ruin your day. So, especially when it triggers you like this and pulls back like that, straight away your arse is going to be banging. And that is the reason these orders, I'm avoiding this. You get that wrong, that's going to sting. Is it 26 ticks? Tick above, tick below, 28 ticks. See what I mean? Bookmap saves me again. Now, I was very tempted to go short there, but 1, the bar was massive, and 2, there's still orders here. So if anybody had taken that, you got trapped and pushed up. Now that's a little better. Leg up with a break, 2 pushes to a new high. Trouble is, those orders here are getting stronger. Now there's liquidity there and there, so this may push up and clear this liquidity before it comes down. Same again, another bear bar looking like it's trapped there. So, you know, without Bookmap, you can't see these orders, and you may jump in here. Now all of a sudden we're starting to pick them off. Now there are orders a bit further up and a bit further up. But the best way I've found to use this is to focus on my chart, and when I'm looking for a trade, yeah, I'm still sitting tight at the moment because there are still orders there and they're getting stronger. There's 138 contracts there. So for me, another bearish bar there, triggered, stopped out again. So there's going to be people trapped here. You can bet. Big bearish bar, triggers, pushed up, stopped out. Bearish bar, pushed up, stopped out. Now we're into this realm of these orders, but there are still orders up here. So there's nothing I'm going to do at the moment. I won't be surprised if some traders may have took them, see. So Thomas took a trade here. Where was it? Oh yeah, Thomas took a trade there. Just got it. He just got his profit and pushed up. But you can see, can't you? Right now, my issue is there's still quite a few orders up here around the 35 to 37 mark. So at the moment, I'm just sitting tight. I'm just going to get rid of that, actually.
Order cancelled.
After this push down, you're going to be looking for a way in. I bet you that big bearish bar there'd have been traders selling there, I think. I considered it myself for a sec, but I know these are here. So, didn't he take the second entry on the market open? I'm not sure, bud. The one I'm looking at here is this here. It's that one there, and it just came down enough because he's got his stop at break even. So he's put it. I'm assuming it's a second. Yeah, well, there's his order there. So that's the one he took. So he just got his points before it. I left it because it's just I don't know. It's just it's just unclear. But he got his points. That's the main thing. Obviously, his runner got taken, but he got his points. He's a capable trader anyway. What I like about him is he's not frightened to show his losses, and I think that shows good character. That says you're a strong trader for me personally. So we've had a fair move down, so I'd expect more than just a little break and straight down, but after that there, 2 legs up, you can bet there'd have been traders there, if not there. So it's just finding out where this is weak. At the moment, it's quite strong, which tells me it's likely to draw traders up. Now, there are very strong orders at 50, which is there. And that would be the best part of a 50% pullback and retest in this area here. What I'm going to do is stretch this. Maybe there's a leg up and then another leg up, possibly. But usually, the bigger the channel down, the bigger the break. You know, small channel, small break, new low. Big channel, bigger break. So let me have a look at bookmap. So 50, I know there's orders there. This area from around about 32 to 40. There are orders there. Actually, they're fading a little bit more about the 36, 37 marks. So this area. Yeah, it's not super clear, is it? So maybe there's a small break there and a push up. I don't think this thing's finished with coming down low. And if you look on bookmap, there are orders at 28.20 down here. And there are orders down here at 8.10. So this area, there are buyers, which is slowly going to draw price down now. It may well have a break and make two legs up and clear this out before it comes down. That's the trouble. We can see where the orders are, but you don't know when they're all, you know, when aggressive buyers and sellers are going to engage things. So we could end up having something like that, which would be a couple of legs up. It would clear this area up as much as 40. These are, so about, yeah, around about there, touch above, touch below. So at the moment, I'm just sitting tight. Trouble is, it's very easy to be a bit premature and get into a trade only to be triggered and it to push up to these areas. That's the beauty of bookmap. I can see there are strong orders from 35 and upwards. Now, there's a good chance that's going to suck prices up. So right up to 40. So there are sellers here. So if you jump in with this bearish bar here, break, matching high, it triggers your pushes up. So you have to be aware of these, and that's the beauty about it. The more I use bookmap, the better I feel about trading, because I understand and I can see what's there where I couldn't before. You know, if you're trading this at Patso, you've got no idea what's up here. You know, it's like having blinkers on. But looking at bookmap, you can clearly see where there are sellers, and you have to respect them. You can't say, well, I know better. There's a fair amount of them, which, you know, it's like anything. The more people that do something, the more power you've got, really. And if there is a bunch of orders up here, chances are, unless you get a mass of sellers out the blue, chances are price is going to gravitate towards them. So at the moment, I'm just sitting tight. It's getting a little bit, it looks a bit, you can clearly see it here, can't you? It's getting a bit sideways. So you just got to stay out of that, really. Once it starts to clear a lot of this liquidity, then you may get, we may get a move down, but you can clearly see these orders, can't you? And obviously down below, you've got to, you know, think about where they're going to go. So 20 and below, which is about here, there are orders down here, and there's a huge amount at 800. Well, I say huge amount, that's slight exaggeration there. At 800. So there are orders down here at 800. There are orders at 810. So all the way down here. Now we've had a big move down. What happens when we get a big channel down? We have a break, and then what? We make a new extreme, don't we? So two legs up, two legs down, and pick up all these bits. Just do there. So 20 is there. So around about there. And 7 to 10 as well. Around about here, which is below these lows. So there's orders here, 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 and here. Now, equally, there are orders here and there are orders here. So 2 legs up. Let's see if we get up here. I understand that's a good place to sell. If you're a super patient guy in no rush for a sell and you think, no, I'll wait till I get back up here. And if we do, we're going to capture a big move. Other people aren't so patient and they may get in a bit earlier. Trouble is, if you put it up here, you may miss the ride. But you don't know who they are, do you? That's the largest amount of orders anyway. 246, I'm assuming, contracts. I don't fully understand. I'm going to have to look into this. I'm not really sure what these are, to be honest with you. But I'm going to spend a bit of time over the weekend learning a little bit more about Bookmap. Because it's clearly helping me out. So at the moment, it's just going sideways, so there's nothing I can do. So the orders there are 37 to 40. So in other words, when orders break all above these, there are sellers interested in selling there. And then a few at 45 and a few at 50. Now that kind of would make sense. Big move down, a couple of legs up, pick up some shorts, and then down for a second leg. Obviously that I'm speculating there, but that kind of makes sense. We've cleared this area. There are orders. The orders are drawing us down towards these levels here. So the trouble is you never quite know when it's going to move. You just have to be aware of where the sellers are, and hopefully you're on the right side of them and kind of ride things with them. Trouble is, if all of a sudden aggressive sellers start to sell now, a lot of these will disappear then. People will yank them. So I have put in for a $2,000. So as you know, I've got 10 accounts. One of them is around about $4,300. I've put in for a $2,000. And what I'm going to try and do is just take $2,000 from that one account per month. And leave the other 9 to grow up to $7,500. That's my plan. Now, if I can grow those accounts $7,500 without spending any more money at all, then I am going to move into a small office, because at least then I've got 75,000 to trade with. And if I can hold them on and grow them over the next maybe 5 months, and that's the time to, that's kind of given myself a nice target. So I'm going to, this would kind of make sense with the leg. In fact, that leg would go a little bit higher, wouldn't it? Depending on where we go here. Leg up, couple of legs, leg up. You never know, this may come straight down, but with these orders up here at the moment, in fact, the 30 orders have gone. There's just these and that. So a second leg would take us, funnily enough, right into the middle of these two areas. So I'd love to come and trade with you in an office. Wouldn't it be lovely to get a bunch of us in a nice office together? Just get a bunch of computers. It'd be a great laugh, I think. We'd just fill the fridge with single malt and burgers. It'd be nice that. It would be nice to trade with a bunch of people. At least that way, if you get a tough day, you can console each other, can't you, with alcohol? It'd be like what's the film? Leonardo DiCaprio film. It'd be like that, wouldn't it? We could get some dwarfs and throw them at a wall. Shit like that. Get some dancing girls. Yeah, that'd be a bit of fun, wouldn't it? Office above a pub, absolutely. I challenged the fake guru. He didn't answer me anymore. Yeah, I think the fake ones usually don't, do they? I've been arguing on Facebook all morning. I'm a cricket fan, and I don't know if you US guys know about cricket. I think some of you do now. England are playing Australia in a couple of weeks, and it lasts about 5 weeks. It's called the Ashes Tour, and it's every 2 years. So this time around, it's in Australia. 2 years' time, it'll be in the UK. So I'm a member of a couple of Facebook groups, and we spend loads of time slagging off the Australians. And I've been arguing with a couple this morning. It's quite a bit of fun, actually, a bit of banter. He does free masterclass. The trouble is, you never know who's out there. You really don't know people. They could be filling you with any sort of rubbish, couldn't they? My guess is if somebody's charging you something, look into them and find out why. If they're experienced trader and they're any good, you would tend to think they'd be off earning their money and enjoying their life rather than spending time teaching people. You know what I mean? If I was earning 100, 200, 300, 500, 600,000 a year, you'd be earning your money and going out and enjoying your life, which is why I won't want to commit to anything like that. Once you commit to teaching people or mentoring people, you're committed. That's one of the things I like about trading is you've got the freedom to do whatever you want. If you're committed to teaching people, you have to be there. If you charge people, you have to be there. So, yeah, I say if, I don't buy a toaster in the UK without Googling it first to see if it's any good. So if someone's charging you, just look into them, I would. That's how I came across Mac. I was about to pay $300 to Michael Chin for his course, and then I kind of Googled him, and that's where I found out it was Mac. And was I surprised when Mac was 1/3 of the price, and he was the guy that was teaching you? So I got to say I fell on my feet when I come across Mac. I consider myself lucky because there's so many people out there charging you a huge amount of money, and Mac comes along, nice guy from the south, charges you $125 for a year. You got nothing to lose. Someone's not going to rip you off if he's charging that. Okay, so this looks like that possible second leg up, which I'm waiting for. That's a fair old leg down. I'd expect a little bit more than just that and straight down. Michael Chin's making 500 a day before work. But yeah, I know. If I was making 500 a day before work, why would you going to work? Excuse me. It's $2,500. That's $10,000 a month. Why would you want to go to work? That's mad, isn't it? If you can make $500 and then go to work, I'd rather give up work. You make another $500. Trouble is, you really don't know what people are selling you nowadays. That's the trouble. I mean, I don't sell anybody anything, but I still show you, when I get a payment out because I think it's nice to see. It gives you that little bit of belief that, there are a few. I've had a few emails over the few years saying, do people really make money at this trading lot? Because I never see people doing it. All I ever hear is about people losing. So I think it's nice when you show people you've earned money, you've got a payment, because it gives people that little bit of self-belief. Because you spend so much time failing when you're learning to trade, it's very hard to believe you can actually do it. Did they get sued? I don't think they got sued. I think Mac put one of these restrictions on them or something or other, I heard. Mind you, having said that, I think in a strange way they actually did Mac a favour, because I spoke to a lot of people that said they wouldn't have even heard of Mac if it wasn't for Michael Chin. So I think in the long run he probably did. They probably did him a favour. Okay, so we're into this area, aren't we? This is where there are a load of those orders. Now there's still orders at 50. It's whether this thing is going to get up. So it did what we kind of thought it would, based on what Bookmap was telling us. Came down and up. There are bound to have been traders looking to get in short here, thinking this was going to push down to the lows. But because we got Bookmap, we can see there were sellers here. So there are some at 45. Not a huge amount. Some at 10, some at 20. Yeah, there are some here. That's kind of the last stop saloon, I think. Problem with these fake gurus are only increasing people. Aren't agreeing to, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it. You know that he was the guy that does the he's sort of, what's his name? Iman, is it? Iman Trading? He kind of catches them out. He's not done much lately, has he? I think he was the one who did the video on Michael Chin and Randy. Is it Randy Coleman? I was going to say Randy Jackson. Then he's an old singer, isn't he? He's the one that did the video on them. He's done a bunch of others as well. So now we've had kind of a measured move there. Now, I certainly wouldn't be thinking about a short just yet because we're in a little channel here. I'd expect a break and a new high, but I am aware there are 250 contracts sat to go short at here. And if you look left, we've had a bounce there and a bounce there, and we've tested it. You would think, just from a quick bit of analysis, that wouldn't be a bad place to think about going short. These fake gurus collab with prop firms. Yeah. I had a prop firm. I can't remember what they were called. It was about a month, 6 weeks ago. They messaged me. Now, bearing in mind, I'm only small time compared to, I mean, people like Alpine, they get 10 times the amount of views that I do. All I do is stream. I don't make videos. But you know, you still get messages from people, and this prop firm said to me, I can have unlimited amount of PA accounts, but obviously I can't for free, but obviously I can't withdraw from them. So in other words, it would make me look like I've got a lot of accounts that I could trade, you know, as a sim, but look like, you know, I'm making money, and hence, you know, you guys would see me and think, oh, he's doing well, he's making money, he's got loads of accounts. Let's use this prop firm. So basically, blatantly obvious that there are companies out there are quite happy to give you free accounts and make it look like you're making money. Now, if you're making $10,000 or $20,000 from affiliates a month, it doesn't matter if you can't trade to some people, because they'll think, well, I'll trade on a PA account. I'm not making money for it, and I've got nothing to lose. It was free. So all of a sudden, if you're trading on a sim, it makes trading that little bit easier. You haven't got to worry. So I know there's one company that does it. I don't know about anybody else. But in all fairness, when I listen to people like Nutty, he does get very stressed. So he tells me that he is making money out of it. But just goes to show there are companies who quite happily for you to pretend you're trading real money when you're not, just for the sake of picking up evaluations and sending business to them. I can't remember what I just blocked the email. I just thought that's, you know, don't get me wrong, I like earning money, but not at the expense of bullshitting to people. I want to be a trader. I want to make money from trading. I want to eventually go to Dubai for a few years and try and enjoy the exciting high life before I get too old and snuff it. Whether it'll happen or not, but that's my dream. I'm not interested in trading with fake money and diddling people. So a lot of those orders at 50 have been yanked. There are still some there, but there's only half the amount. And they've actually dropped a bit to about there. So there are sellers willing to sell there. Having said that, there still are a chunk. You can see them up here just below 55. Let's take this one. So around about there. So this thing can't go up that much more, can it? Trouble is, you've just got to be aware that I've done this before. I'm that focused on this thing must come down, and sometimes before I realise it's not coming down, we're up here. So I think it's always good to keep open-minded. It looks like a couple of legs up. But if you look on Bookmap now, what's happening down here? All these buyers down here are starting to yank their orders. In other words, they're thinking the same thing me. This thing now looks like it's going up. So let's take the orders off the table. Now, it naturally then hasn't got its pull down. So maybe we've had this break and an attempt at a low, and maybe price is moving up. So that's the trouble. Me just saying that and happening to look at Bookmap and seeing that a lot of these orders are being tucked away. Granted, there is still some down there. Buyers, so that may, a couple of legs down, I'll buy here type thing, but a lot of these are getting yanked. So it's hard to say. So if you look on Bookmap now, they're quite strong at 50 and 55. So 50 to 55, so around about that area. So there's still traders willing to sell there, and that kind of would make sense, taking off some liquidity there, possibly there, and then maybe a leg down. I mean, as far as pullbacks, it's not come back too far, has it? That, you wouldn't not still think about a short. I don't think it's come back quite 50% yet. No, it hasn't. So if you look at where the top of that liquidity is there, those sellers, it's at that 50% mark. So, if we get a strong reaction here, we may still get a way down, but I am open-minded. I am open-minded that price may continue up. It depends. If a lot of these buyers down here decide to yank their orders, that natural pull isn't there. And as we hit this level, you may more sellers thinking, yeah, let's get back a bit further before we push down. So the top of this here is right where that 50% mark is from the move down. So let's see what happens. So we got a channel there with a break. Now, the only one thing I've noticed is there may be a little bit of a spike in a channel there. So the two legs have clearly more than gone. Okay, so this is just a little pullback. I think this is probably going to get up a bit higher, judging by the orders I can see. There's about 500 contracts in this area waiting to be sold. Yeah, Thomas has said it's exceeding the measured move. Looks like we need to draw a new uptrend. I'm not super convinced as yet. If we get above here, then maybe that's a different story. But two legs up, that's not unusual to pull back there in this area. I think I'm probably going to pay the $99 a month and upgrade this. What I do like about it compared to this is a bit clearer. And I can adapt this however I want. So it's got that little bit more freedom. The only slight thing is I've got to pay extra to get that little box there showing more aggressive buyers the imbalance of buyers and sellers. So that's interesting. So we got a lower high here. Now I'm sitting tight here at the moment purely because I can see there's a stack of orders up here. So I wouldn't be shocked if that came down, but equally I wouldn't be surprised if it stopped below that bull bar there and then pushed up. Certainly stopping that bearish bar out. I think we're in this a little bit unknown area just at the moment. So we know there are orders up here. So a lower high here is looking like it's trapping sellers that may have got in a little bit prematurely. So I mean, even without bookmap, I'm just a little bit uncertain exactly what's going on here, so I wouldn't have taken a short or a long there. I'm just sitting tight. So it's looking like it's pushing up and stopping this, and all of a sudden it started to have that little drop. So I can't see any aggressive sellers as of yet. I'd like to see that stopped out, which it has. Now let's see what happens. Now I'd like to see him move up now and test this. If it doesn't, who knows? So slightly more aggressive sellers here are trying to push this down, but they're evening out a bit now. While these are here, I can't go short at the moment. Because I still think this is going to push up and test. There's a bearish bar there. There's liquidity there, and that would get us into this zone here where we know there are sellers. So if you're getting anywhere here, it's not looking great. But then all of a sudden, look at this bearish bar here. That's what I said. Even though Bookmap is saying their orders here, if enough aggressive sellers think they like this and start selling, it may not get up here. Okay, you can see those sellers now, can't you? They're a lot larger than the buyers, so the imbalance of sellers compared to buyers is forcing this market down at the moment. Now they're evening out a bit. So let's have a look. Okay, so we've made 2 legs up, that we can see. Now, is that enough? You know, we have broken above this, which is a good thing. Now, we know their orders here. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get back up to him, but a couple of legs down, we may have a couple of legs up and retest this anyway, but shh. It's just kids. Just kids. But once this starts to go, I think it'll be pretty clear. So let's see how long these orders hang around before they start to disappear. Obviously, the more this goes down this direction. Buyers at 8:30. Which is there. So we could still have an attempt to go up. It's hard to say at the moment. If that pulls down that far, I can't see that. Move it up. Yeah, the things with Bookmap, first and foremost, you've got to focus on your chart. And then when you're looking for a trade, that's when Bookmap comes into its own, just to give you that extra little bit of confidence you're making the right decision. Someone just said on the 10,000 tick chart, it looks just like one big trend down. I mean, there's always, you know, later in the day, there's always that possibility we could end up doing that. And if you look, move down 2 legs up, this could absolutely fly down, couldn't it? You know, if that was the case, you can see the correction there, and then down we come. But let's have a look on the 10,000 tick chart. See if he's right. Kind of tells the same thing. You can see what we've got here: leg down, 2 attempts to push up. You know, my gut feeling now is it's likely to go down. Having said that, bookmap does look very strong here, so you just never know. I tend to trust this bookmap because I've thought it can't go back up again, and then it does. So I do really start to trust bookmap. That does look like a kind of a correction. What I like about it is you can't confuse that for a bigger trend up. It just doesn't work. So that looks to me like 2 moves to try and push above it. And as long as those big orders are there, that natural pull is still there. And that's what makes me a bit nervous about thinking about going for a short. So I've just seen some orders pop up at about 42.5, which is there. 2 legs up and then down. It's hard to say. This has already gone down anyway, so we've had a break and more or less certainly a matching low anyway. Orders at 30 here, so just bringing price down. There it goes. Straight to that level. We've still got these orders here. Now, orders in this area have almost vanished. There's some news coming up. I don't think there is there? Yeah, I was looking on the Bookmap website last night. There's loads of videos on there talking about it and understanding icebergs and all this sort of stuff. Institutional traders trading in smaller chunks. So they look really interesting, actually, really well put together. So I'm going to, over the weekend, I'm going to get my headphones on and watch a couple of those. It's a great piece of kit, really, and I think if it's a good piece of kit, you can do yourself a favour by getting to know it well. So I'm going to spend some time over the weekend and do that. So orders there, around about the 40, 37 as well, and still at 30. We haven't quite pushed into that yet. But as long as those are here, I'm a bit cautious. But this is looking like it's continuing down, so they may disappear. So we're pushing into this area, I think now. There we go. So that's picked off those orders there. You'll see it now. This is a few seconds behind. There it goes. Now, there are some orders at 25 and at 20 down here. And at the moment, you can see we've got more aggressive sellers. So that would indicate prices are more likely to continue down. Now, you probably expect some profit taken here, anyway, wouldn't you? So it's hard to say, really, but it looks like a big move down with some form of a correction and then a move down to the lows. But I would like to see something, a little bit of a couple of legs here. Bearing in mind, we've still got those orders there, but they could just get yanked at any time. It doesn't mean prices are going to get towards them. Oh, Excuse me. So there are orders here, so channel down, couple of legs up. I mean, really, that's almost like it's starting to fit into one channel. It's going a little bit sideways here, so we may get a break of sorts. See, look at this. This that I put down there. Look where it is. Bounce, bounce, right here. It's surprising when you look back how it plays a part. Bounce, bounce, bounce. So clearly right into that area. So we can get rid of that now. That's gone. We need a couple of legs up here. So there's orders at 40. There's orders at 37. And there are orders at about 33, which are indicating a pullback. Trouble is, does it go to this level? Ooh, hello. What happened there? I'm guessing. Okay, yeah, that's the good thing about this being a few seconds late. You can look left after it's happened. You can see them aggressive sellers have almost doubled the buyers, which has just pushed that down a little bit. Now, on Bookmap, their orders are 32. A lot of these are starting to fade, so their orders at 32, which is there, and a lot of these are starting to fade. You can still see them at 40, but there's basically not much there. And you can see them there. The majority, it's getting stronger down below. So that's telling me we're not going to get much of a break here, if at all. So just from a quick glance, if we zoom out, we've got this big move down. We had the couple of legs and then this big move down. And then we've had two clear attempts to push up. Second one went a bit higher, but that makes sense. Retest the overnight lows, clear out a liquidity, and then we've had this slow grind down. So I think it's safe to say, looking at Bookmap, there are orders right down to 17 something, which makes sense at the lows. Where's 17? There. Let's have a look. There we go. Funnily enough, right at the lows. So it makes sense that this is going to come down. Now, whether it does it like this or whether it pulls back first, I'd be inclined to expect it to pull back. If I was, I wouldn't be riding that down so low, close to the lows. I'd be thinking this is going to pull back a little bit. There are still orders at 40. That's a little bit too far back for me now. And there are buyers around this area as well, maybe expecting to push it up some. So 32.5, there are some. You can see them there. Quite strong, and that is right where the EMA is, so that would make sense. Surprised his orders haven't disappeared yet. So 25 down here now. People trying to catch this move. Well, look at that. That's come down fairly strong, isn't it? And there are those orders at the bottom. This thing doesn't look like it's going to hold back. Some down there at 50 as well. I'll be surprised if that pushes straight to those lows without profit taking, but who knows? So, short orders around here. Expect a little bit of profit taking. Shorts around about the 24-ish area. And then orders at 17, which is here. So it's a small window there, isn't it? What do I think about DCA as a strategy? I've never done it myself. I tend to hear more people doing that sort of thing when it comes to crypto, just buying a bit here and a bit here and a bit here and a bit here. But I haven't done it myself, but I do see people doing it. You know, maybe trade it with micros if it starts to go. Trouble is with Pats, I find price doesn't go that far before it comes back and overlaps itself and takes out your stop, depending on how many points you're going for. Now, obviously, with these big moves down, that's different. But a lot of the time, when price is doing what it's doing, it'll trigger you, push up, give you your profit, go a little bit higher, come back, take out your stop, and then go up again. So tends to overlap. So trading the 2000 tick chart with a PAT strategy, I don't think it would work as well. I think that sort of thing, this is just my, a rough idea off the top of my head. I would say you probably need to trade a higher time frame to get more of that movement. Obviously, if you're adding to a trade, you're intending on grabbing a bigger movement, aren't you? If we're ranging between this area, you may sort of sell here, and then when we get a pullback and a bearish buy, you may add to it there and add to it there. So for Pats, I wouldn't think it would work. But hey, the more you sit here, the more. Oh, I'm Wilson, man, you stink. The more you sit here, the more you study the charts, the more you're going to find your own way of doing things. It's surprising. Okay, so that's just whacked straight through that liquidity there. It didn't hesitate, just pushed straight through it. So that came down a lot steeper. I expected a bit of profit taking there, but I expected a little bit more, but all of a sudden, woof, straight down. So, who knows? The thing's just. Al Brooks teaches you to use wide stops. I know there was a guy in Thomas Wade at school. Yeah. See, I think Penguin Trades is a combination of a slightly blown out version of Pat's. And he kind of devised that by himself. But when you've been sat in front of these charts for a few years, you do start to notice things. And it's amazing how you can adapt things. It really is. And no one can tell you you're doing it wrong. If you can find a way of making money, I don't give a shit how you do it. You got my respect because I know how hard it is. So, if you can find a way of making money, it doesn't matter how you do it. If you can do it and do it successfully, do it. That's how all these strategies that come from, they've all come from people just, watching and studying the markets. You start to notice they do things and they do certain patterns. I noticed them doing something a couple of years ago. I mentioned them, whenever you get this kind of what I call a double width channel, whenever you get a bearish bar as it's going up, If you just bought at the close, 2-point stop, 2-point profit, a lot of the times that's what I call a double width channel, as opposed to this single width channel. Whenever you get these kind of double width channels, same there, you got one there, you get a bearish bar. If you sell there, 2-point stop, 2-point profit, that worked. That one there, another bull bar. If you sell at the top, 2-point profit, 2-point stop, 2-point profit, that one worked. We get these little double width. You see it comes down, pulls up a bit, crosses over, comes down, pulls up a bit, crosses over. So if you took 2 trades in that small little area, you won both of them. So you can try all these things. If you see something, have it on a separate chart. Just trade it, on a sim or on a micro or something. But you can clearly see, same again, see we're going up there. You can see it's quite a wide channel. It's not very tight. We get a bearish bar, crosses over, pushes up. It's surprising how sometimes you can get a 2 in just one move up. So, yeah, it's interesting. Okay, I'm liking this now. So, there are orders at 30, which is a bit high. Now, there are quite a few orders around the 18 to 20, which is now. That may indicate a lower high, but I'm waiting here at the minute because I think there are orders starting to flicker in this zone. Yeah, they are. Around about the 24-ish, which would indicate 2 legs up. There's going to be liquidity here, so if we can push up to this area, pick up some of those shorts. There is some at 30, but they're not super strong as yet. And this is not a huge channel down, so 2 legs to there, I would have a go at that. Trouble is we broke the lows here, so you've got to be a little bit careful now. There is a second entry short there, which I don't think's terrible. There are sell orders, but they're around about 20, which is still within this bar, so that does look like it's working. But I'm just sitting tight at the moment because we broke the lows, so you don't know how much of a pullback we could get. It's come down that steep. I can't see it going much steeper. I would expect more of something like that. But that is quite snug there. But I'm just not super keen at the moment. There are orders at 30, which I think is a bit high, but it's not terrible. But I'm just sitting tight here at the minute. There's a little bit of a box here. It's a little bit congested. See what I mean? Just a touch. So, although I like where that is in relation to that EMA, I wouldn't be surprised if this popped up a bit higher. You could say 1, 2, triple test possibly. I'm sitting tight. It may work, but I'm staying out of this just at the moment. It's a little bit unclear here. So orders at 20, which is there, but it's still below this area. So there are traders trying to push this down. So I think it may go. Strong orders down here at around about the 10 to 12. So I think this is probably going to come push down below this area here. And it's looking like it is. There is a lower high. I wouldn't say that myself. There's no room to the lows. But there you go. So Bookmap is giving us that indication that there are sellers part the way in that bear bar there. And excuse me a sec. Okay. Yeah, so there's that channel down, 2 little legs up and a new low. It's not much of a break, to be honest with you, considering the size of the channel, but there's not a huge amount of sellers there. You can see now there are some at 30. I can't see price getting up that high. And the sellers here are within this area here. What are they? 20. So if you look at 20 on here, you'd have still been safe there if you went short there. If you stopped up here and there are sellers here trying to push this down. So it did look like it worked in the end. So I am just going to take a quick 5-minute break. Let me just pop this on there. So I'm going to take a quick 5 minutes, make myself a cup of tea. And I'll leave that with you folks. So nothing as yet, but hopefully it's still early yet. Just charging. It's still early yet. We may get a setup. So I'll leave you. I'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okie dokie. Wow, this thing. Okay, so it's kind of doing what we thought. 2 legs down, and it's going to get us down to this area. So those 2 legs up did work. They just weren't super clear, and there was a bunch of orders up here, but you can obviously see they've disappeared. So these orders that were at the 46.50 level, just gone, haven't they? So we can remove that. So, so clearly came down. So channel down there, 2 legs up or a correction, and then down. Unfortunately, there is kind of a failure there, but it's just it's a bit unclear. And with those big orders up here, as I say, sometimes it just won't get there. I mean, that's probably enough of a correction for sellers, especially when it tests the lows here, for sellers to go, yeah, that's good enough. Let's get in. So we've got a channel down there with a break, clearly a new low. It's off the charts, this one. So where may price go? So what does the B mean? Is that a B? Can't tell. Oh, okay. So what I'm looking at is there are sellers all the way around here thinking this is going to push further. So first and foremost, let's put a second leg down here and figure out. Flicking around like crazy at the moment. Bookmap is their orders jumping back and forth. So let's put that there to give us a target where it could go. So there are loads of orders right up to about 807. There are lots around this area. So see, really, you got to kind of respect that and leave that there. Doesn't mean it won't continue down. So the main bunch of orders are around about the 05 level, which is here. Between about 03 and 05. So let's just put that there. So say 5.5. So around about here to there. It's changing by the second. There's quite a lot of volatility now. There's about 800 there. So there's lots of sellers in this area. A little bit higher. So yeah. Expect a couple of legs up. So 805, a bit above 805 is the largest amount, so it quietens down there. So 2 legs back, we may get something. Slow grind, yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? If you notice on Bookmap, I can see it a bit clear on here, actually. They're flickering around. There's orders coming in here. You can see these bunch of orders looking like they're trying to ride price down. There are some buy orders here as well, but I think the main bunch are the sell orders looking like they're trying to push price down. Above 2. So let's say about 3 to 5.75, this area. Now there'll be liquidity here and here, so I wouldn't want to go short just here. I would prefer it to push a little bit higher. I'm going to have to do something with this channel. I'm not sure I feel about this channel, to be honest with you. Let's put that there. Okay, so this is the kind of right area, 2 legs up. So those orders have moved up a touch. There are strong about 8, which is around about here. Now there's liquidity in here, which we can see. Still got a long way to go to this possible measured move. What are we testing? So as tempting as that is, I'm leaving it at the minute because there are still some strong orders at 7.5, which is there. So I'm leaving that. It never triggered anyway, fortunately. Trouble is, the buy orders are following it, a following price. That tells me this may go higher. As far as 800, there are buyers right down here. There are buyers there. So those buyers look like they may overwhelm these sellers. So I'm getting a bit mixed. I don't like this picture, to be honest with you. I'm getting a little bit mixed information here. So I'm just sitting on my hands and twiddling my thumbs. Yeah, those orders are starting to spring up a little bit higher. So this thing looks to me like it's going to continue up a little bit. There are orders right up around 10, this kind of area here. So at the moment, I'm just leaving this alone. Yeah, buyers are trying to push this up. Now, what are we seeing here? 2 clear legs down. Now, the second leg hasn't gone as far. That's okay. Sometimes that happens. But this is 2 legs down, so we may get some kind of a correction here. And looking at Bookmap, we've got orders, we've got buyers at 8, which is above the lows of the price, which is telling me it may not come lower. If it comes, so there's a few sellers here, but there are a chunk of buyers just above 800. So we push up, we pull back. This is likely to go a bit higher before it comes down, if it does. So let's see if we can kind of make something of this. Let's put that like that. Drag the bottom up so it fits that. Doesn't look terrible to me. So I think this is going to come back to this area, pick up these buyers, and then see how far those buyers can ride this thing up, which may, and look at that, look what it's doing, coming down exactly where Bookmap is showing us those buyers are, right here. So we push up, we pull back, right to that level there. So now let's have a look. There are still some there at 800. There's sorry, it's above a bit 800. So it did take some of those. There are some there at 800 now. They're buyers as well. So it's at the 800. Now let's see where price goes. There are buyers a little bit lower as well. So leg up, leg up. See, on my chart, it's a little bit more clearer. 797 and a half. There. Buyers. Oh, it's coming down quite sharp, this is. Are we getting something like this? Channel up, pull back. It's very similar, and then up for a second leg? Possibly. Looks very similar to that. Big channel down, leg and a leg. Big channel down, leg and a leg. You know, this we may, as things change and adapt throughout the afternoon, we may end up getting something like that. Boom, boom. Two legs up here. I don't know. Who knows? That's more speculation. So, there we go. It's coming into contact with some buyers now. Those buyers are a touch lower, actually. There we go. A little bit lower at 95 now. There are some, as these are getting picked up, there are buyers in at 95. Trouble is, these buyers are flipping and changing every second or so. They're still quite strong there. So, is this going to come down, or are we going to get something like that again, which will get us up to this area here, which is kind of, well, similar in an odd way. It pushed up a little bit further that second leg, didn't it? But we had the same thing, channel down, two attempts to push higher, and then a continuation. What I will say is, any of these moves down, we haven't really had any range in yet, have we? So, okay, yeah, this is indicating it's moving down a bit, around about 79. There are sellers there, so move down, maybe a bit of profit taking, small pullback. Just open this up a bit. That's better. Okay, so 98 and a quarter, which is there. Sorry, 98 and three quarters, my mistake. So I think we'll have a pullback here. Pick those sell orders up and see if this thing goes down some more. But there are orders springing up a little bit further. But so channel down with a break. One, pullback, two pushes to a new low. Okay, up to 800, which is there. Funnily enough, right at the EMA. Okay, that's picking them orders up there. Let me have a look. There are some in this area here, so maybe we get those 2 attempts. Let's just remove that a minute. Maybe we get something like this. A little bit of sideways, but I'd like to see 2 attempts to push up, which is very similar to what we had before. Now, bearing in mind, this second leg obviously pushed up a lot more. I think a lot of people put sells at this liquidity area. You can see 1, 2. You can see there's liquidity there, and price broke right above there just by a few ticks and then reversed. So as we know, price loves liquidity, and you can clearly see we push down, we go 1, we go 2, and then it comes down. There's a second entry. There'll be some stops up here, and it just pushed enough to clear that area out, and then down it came. So it does look like we may get something. Now, let me have a look. There are orders at 5 here, so I would avoid this short personally. While there's orders of any significance, they're not huge, but there are some at 805, which is at this level. Now, they're not huge, so it might not mean much of a difference. And in fact, they are starting to feather out, actually, so that may just mean it'll drop. But I'm going to leave it at the moment because we could get a couple of attempts. So, 2 legs up. I may have a go at that. As I say, they're not super strong, but there's enough of them. We got no setup here anyway. We've only really got 1 leg up, so. Channel, I'd like to push up, have 2 legs up, and then find a short right where these sellers are. There's 100 contracts or sellers, or whatever they are. I don't know how it works, but I'll see. As long as those orders are there, I can't take a short here. There is a second entry short on this chart here, but that looks like a move up to me. And this is, well, you just don't know. Sometimes it'll work anyway. As I say, they're not a huge amount, but I'm just being inclined. It's a little bit congested here. And you could argue there is a little bit of a range going on there. So at the moment, I wouldn't want to go short here because, you know, there's something along that bottom, isn't there? So it's reacting there with bounce there, bounce there. So at the moment, I'm just sitting tight. Yeah, maybe. But going short here into the bottoms, it's not for me. We've got to have that second leg up, I think. So there may be a little bit of congestion there. So I'm just sitting tight. You never know. Price may just topple down. But for me, we've got to have 2 legs up. And if we can get a second leg up to this area, that would be the perfect short, I think. Perfect place to go short right up here. Touch this, drop, big bearish bar, and then that comes down beautiful. Now we have made a new low, so technically that's played out. But a channel of that caliber, I prefer 2 pushes down to a new low. So we got a channel down, 2 legs up. Well, there's more than 2 pushes down there. You could argue there's the first push, and there's the second push. So bound to be stops here. I wouldn't take a short there because we got a little uptrend. I'd expect a new high, which would give us 2 nice looking legs, and they're nice and far apart as well, so you can't confuse them. So if we get that, I mean, that would be great. You can't confuse that with an uptrend because that just doesn't work. That's the good thing. The broader they are, the more separate these are, the more you can consider them as just 2 legs. Might not get this high, but I'm not too worried. In fact, tell a lie, they're actually a little bit lower, I think. They're more 802, which is about there. There are some at 804, so let's put it around about there. So 2 legs up will get us to this area. If we can get up here, if we get above there, it's going to make it a lot easier. So we've got to move down with 2 attempts to push up. So let's get an order ready, just
Order
in case.
submitted.
So channel down, 2 attempts to push up. So that would be a move down with a break, 1 little correction, 2 pushes to a new low. It's going to get above here for me. Then we've picked off any liquidity. And if we can get to that area there, that's where it'll pick up. You can see them, they're still there at 5, maybe a touch higher, maybe around about there. If we can get there, that would be great. Okay, we're about there, I think. Oh, I think I have to take that. Oh, still some there at 5. I may have to just leave this. It's very tempting. It's very tempting. Trouble is, it's 18 ticks. It does look like 2 legs. I don't think it's a bad trade, to be honest with you. They are disappearing now. Trouble is, it's already gone. Nothing I could do now. You can see these orders are disappearing, can't you? Unfortunately, it was a good trade as well. The reason I left it is, 1, it was 18 ticks, and 2, there was still orders there, but they did kind of feather. So that's a nice trade, actually. How far has it gone down? If we get a pullback, we may get somewhere. How far has it gone down? It's gone down too far, unfortunately. If we get a little pullback, I'd have had a go at it. I think we're going to be too late, to be honest with you. I can't see that coming back. 2 nice legs. Would be nice if it does. It's 18 ticks, though. There are some shorts at 800. We may get another go. Like that. There's a little bit of a range. You can see it popped out. Yeah, it's I was so close to doing it, but it was 18 ticks, tick above, tick below. I'm risking 5 points there, which I think is it's quite a lot. But then as I kind of look left, those orders disappear. So there's nothing we could do
Order
now.
canceled.
But that's a nice trade. I think 2 clear legs up, big bearish buy. It was a bit big for me, but clearly made the points and did what it was supposed to. So that's a shame, that is. But sometimes it happens. I mean, Thomas Wade wouldn't have taken that. He'd have put a limit order back and he wouldn't have got filled. So I think that was a nice setup personally, but you know, sometimes you miss them when they're a little bit big and risky. I think yeah. I mean, you can clearly see it on here. Someone's marked it there. You can clearly see 2 beautiful legs. It's a good trade, I think. For me, the bar was a bit big and there was still a little bit of liquidity. He never took a second issue after the bet, did he not? I think that's a nice trade. Okay, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Dan's just put, that's where my order was, and he didn't get filled on the limit order. I think a lot of people will be taking limit orders there because it was 18 ticks, tick above, tick below. It's a 5-point risk. It's rather large, but it is such a nice looking trade. Sometimes it happens, and I think sometimes the better luck in the trade, the less time it comes back for a limit order, and look at it work. Down, a little bit of profit taken here, as you'd expect, pull back, and then straight at the bottom. So it's a shame that. If it wasn't so big, I'd have just jumped straight in. But there was orders at 805, not huge, but they did disappear quick. So it's just one of those things. I don't mind missing trays. They don't bother me in the slightest. I think you're always best to be sure. And if one element is not quite right, leave it until it is. But sometimes you miss. You know, I was prepared to take a limit order on that bar because I expected to push it out. So if it came back, unfortunately, it didn't. And that doesn't surprise me. It was a solid entry, and there you go. But that's it. Sometimes you're all right. Sometimes it happens. You skipped it because I didn't have a new down trend. Yeah. I mean, we got a downtrend here. We got a leg. Yes, there's a push down, but usually I like 2 pushes to a new low. But even if it's played out and we get something like that, I'd still have a go with it. But, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? As I say, it don't bother me. The good thing about not taking a trade is you guarantee you're not going to lose a penny. So I'm all right with that. But that's a good clean setup. That is clearly 2 legs, just unfortunately. So channel, break, 1, correction, 2 pushes to a new low. So I'd have to pause, going for shorts at the moment. Although there are still orders down here. There are some at 790. Some at 795. So maybe this will... See, we haven't made this second leg down, so maybe we'll get something like that. That's very tempting. Very tempting. There's a higher low trap there. Trouble is, I'm just not sure about what's going on here. We got a leg down, 2 legs back. Second leg down, maybe broken into 2. It's a bit premature there. See if we get a lower high here. It's 15 ticks that was. So I think it worked for... No, it would have to get to there for me. I would prefer second entry short here. Two legs up, leg down, the break and a leg down. So there's still orders down here. There's some at 790 strong and 785. So I think this could go down some more. Maybe there's something like that. If we can get a second entry short, have a go. Let me just get an order ready.
Order submitted.
Okay, 2 legs up. 1, 2, 3. You may argue possible triple test here. Second entry short here. You could argue triple test. Not terrible. 1, 2, 3. 25 ticks there.
Order
Too rich
canceled.
for my blood. I was very tempting there. You can see it's 3 attempts up. Clearly worked. We had quite strong orders up around about 8, which may indicate 2 legs up. Unfortunately, we had 3 attempts to push higher and then it just dropped. Yeah, we got to move down. 3 attempts to push higher. Didn't break high enough there, and that was a doji. Although I don't think it makes much difference, but it was a. I don't know. It's just something didn't feel quite right, but it's working well anyway. Yeah, there are strong orders down here. So 790, which is there. 785, which is there. And then a bunch of orders down at 775, which is down here, which is telling me this is coming down to this measured move area. Breakout pullback. Yeah. Strong orders at 96, which is about there, right at that EMA. So channel down, pull back. Maybe there's 3 attempts to push. I think this is going to go down. I expect to pull back here anyway. So could trade that as a lower high there. It's going to be trapped there surely, but we need for me to hit this area. Okay, this has picked up some of these sell orders. I like that. That is so tempting. It's gone too far to treat it as a lower high, though, although I think it didn't work. It's wicked up a bit, though, so I'm just leaving it. You've got to get a second entry short, really. That's the whole idea about first entry. First entries can get trapped. Second entries, you're much safer. Now, possible second entry here. So as tempting as it is sometimes, you've got to wait. Otherwise, you're asking for trouble. So maybe there's something there. Not much in the way of sellers now up here. Sorry. Yes, sellers up here. Now, if we broke above here, that would be a second entry short, but at the moment, until that breaks above and comes back down now, it's an inside bar. Now, that would be a second entry short. And as tempting it is to get sucked into these, and looking at this, it's right in the middle, so it does make things so much more complicated. Yeah, there are strong orders at 800. Sellers there. That will be a second entry short. 2 attempts to push up. Trouble is, it's in the middle of this chop, so it could really go wrong. Orders there. And about 8 as well. That's the trouble. There is a second entry short there. Trouble is, I'm not liking what I'm seeing here at the moment. Okay, there's a second entry short there. There's a lower high there. Trouble is, that looks like a leg up with sideways movement, which means we could get a second leg. There are orders at around about 8, which are right out the top, though. That's the trouble. You've got to be so careful here. I get the lower high trapping that trade. It may well come down, but that looks like a push up sideways. So we do that all the time, up, across, and up. So it's very tempting here, but 1, it's right in the middle of there. 2, it's clearly congested. And as I say, up across, where does it usually go up? Now, there are orders right up here out the top, which seem a bit too high. So the tendency is to think, no, this looks like it's coming down, but it's acting like 2 legs up, 1 leg sideways, second leg. So for me, I think this is going to push up and break above these 2 bars here. So when this happened and started to push down, there's bound to be traders thinking, yeah, we're trapping a big bar here. And then all of a sudden this comes up and there you go. It just stops. So we see this all the time, up, across, and up. So you just got to sit tight. As tempting as it is to get in there, when that triggers above that big bearish bar and starts to come down, I guarantee you there's going to be people hitting their sell button. I know because I'd have done it myself, and then all of a sudden it gives you that look it's coming down and then turns on you and then pushes up, and that's where your stop's going to be. So yeah, there are orders up here. Not a huge amount of orders, around about 8. I think that's a bit high personally. But the trouble is, at the moment, I've had these 2 legs down and we've had a break of this channel and a new low. At the moment, we're going sideways, which is telling me there's a little bit of uncertainty. And if you look at Bookmap, there are orders up here around about 808 and there are orders down here at 790. And if you draw 808, 790, price is right smack bang in the middle, which is telling me it's in a perfect range at the moment. So trading in the middle is just a big no-no. So the simple answer is just going to have to give this a little bit of space. Now, leg up, leg up. You get a nice big bearish bar here. Tempting, but there are orders at 8. So if it reaches 8 and looks bearish and clears out any previous liquidity, that might not be a bad short. It's clearly ranging at the moment, and Bookmap's telling me the same thing. So, and we've got a good picture of what's going on at the moment. But as I say, there are sell orders there. Now, if you were going to sell this as a range, that would be a place to sell it. Right above the previous 2 highs, and right at the top of the range, which we can clearly see. So 7.5. Sorry, it's an 8, is it? 7.5 around about there. There are sell orders there. That's taken. Leg and a leg. Now, see how, if this clears this leg up, you could say it's 2 legs up. I can't take a short so close to this liquidity here. As tempting as that 2 legs up, and the bar's no good anyway. It's an inside bar. It's got to be at this level here for me. It's around about 8, which may take off. This is now that's interesting. All of a sudden, it shot down. I guarantee there'll be some traders jumping in on that. I used to do it myself, but I tend to just, it's very tempting if you think I'm looking for a short here, and all of a sudden this thing has a quick pullback. Sometimes you jump in, you get triggered, and it turns. So I'm always a little bit calmer now. You get that kind of FOMO, don't you? You see it going, and you think, oh, now it's going to collapse. And in all fairness, it looks like it is, but you don't know that at the time, and you just can't trade it. Oh, it looks like it's going down quick. Let's jump in, because chances are when you do that, it'll turn on you. But that's where you'd expect this short. I didn't like that wick, to be honest with you. And with that liquidity up here, I stayed out of it just in case. But that's pretty clear, isn't it, where prices are going? Unfortunately, when it does that, you just don't get pullbacks before it hits the bottom. So 790 is where I believe this has gone to. The beauty is we've had a breakout the top. I expect the same. And that's the trouble is when you see that, there's just no pullbacks there. And where's it going? It's obviously going to go down to the lows. See, there's a possibility Mac may mark that, but you are risking the fact that it's going to turn there when you've got liquidity a little bit further up. Now it's clearly 2 legs up, but you really have to wait for the lower high there. Otherwise, you're just pissing in the wind. You're just guessing where it's going to go there, because it could trigger you, come up a tiny bit more, and then do that big move down. But that's quite definitive. Once that bar, we had that pullback there, the wick back. Once that pushes through that EMA, we know where it's going. So worst thing you can do now in a trend like that is buy at that bar there, because this thing's going to push straight below there. It's clearly a channel straight down, so you're bound to get profit taken, but you're bound to get traders picking the bottoms there, and that's probably the worst place to buy. Especially when you've got such big orders down here. So thick orders down here below the lows here. So see what I mean? If you'd have bought that, it's very tempting buying at the bottom. Goes up about, what, a couple of points, 1.5, and then comes down, stops you out. Sometimes you get away with it, but if you went long a tick above there, you'd have got 1.25 at best, I think, before it triggers you, before it comes down, takes out your stop, and then ends up trying to push up. Channel break new low. I still wouldn't buy her at the moment, because at the moment, I mean, the overall day is bearish, isn't it? So there's big orders down here. Another reason not to buy here for me, especially if you look on this chart, we've got a clear leg down, a little bit of a pullback, and this thing for me is going to push down for a second leg. So, that's the good thing about having bookmap. I can clearly see there's a chunk of orders here. And there's a chunk of orders down here as well. So for me, a leg and a leg. So fortunately, that bar never triggered anyway. So most people, you wouldn't have got trapped there. But Uh, so let's have a look. Oh 04. There are some at oh 04. Let's have a look. About 95, which is the bottom of this. So it may come up and test this, but it may just continue down. So the 90 orders have just gone. Orders at 85 as well, which is there. So there's our 2 legs down. So you can see what's going on. When you get a straight leg down that without even a break, you can't get in on a trade like that. And if we've had a break out the top, almost always get one the opposite end. So there are buyers at 85, and there are buyers 75 down here, which is kind of the bottom of 2 legs. So you get 2, that's a measured leg more or less where you're getting in there. So I bet if I make that a bit neater. Let's have a look. Make this a bit shorter. Around about there. Yeah. Okay. So look at that. Now, is that random? How can it be? So there's a stack of buy orders. If you look on my chart, they're more obvious. There's about 206 orders or contracts, whatever they are, right at that measured move. If you're going to buy a market, isn't this a great place to buy? Right at the bottom of 2 large legs down. So when you see this leg down, when you see these orders and you can get in a trade here, that gives you the confidence to hold and ride it down. Now, we had 2 beautiful legs up there. The bar didn't look fantastic. That's what put me off. On the second chart, it looked okay. So you could, as a trader, take a bit of a risk there if you wanted to. Risks are part of trading. So let's say you're risking 3.25 with the potential to come down 20 points or so. So it's a small risk. If you've got a target down here, it's a small risk right from the top, because when you have a pullback, usually that's the start of the move, and usually, almost always, that's the safest place. I would tend to wait for a lower high, but you can clearly see we got touch, 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 touch. When we came down, we didn't quite get to the bottom, and then we had 2 legs out, bearish bar there, and it never held back, straight down, pull back as you'd expect, and then down again. So, you know, if you did get in that, you've got a potential for a 3.25 point risk. At the moment, you're down to 20 points, so it's win-win, really, isn't it? Even if you get them right about 5 times. If you get them right, 1 in every 6 times, you've at least broke even. So this is part of why I like Bookmap. It does, if you can get a clear setup, give you the confidence to ride the price down. Unfortunately, we just didn't get anything there. It pushed straight down to the bottom, bit of profit taking, which you'd expect, and then it just dropped there. The arse just fell out of it again. No way in, unfortunately. There's a failure there, but you can't take that, really. It's way too far from that EMA, and not only that, if we broke out there, we're going to push to the lows, aren't we? So it's just, you can't do it, I think. Hmm. Yeah, bearish. You can't get in there. It's too far from that EMA for stars. Not only that. that bar straight away, you're already triggering. This thing's starting to work up. Now, if it's bearish enough, it may make no difference, but so many times, you know, these traders getting a little bit late and think, yeah, bearish bar now, let's get in, and all of a sudden it triggers them and stops them out, takes some money, but oh, excuse me. It's clearly getting congested now. So, see that bearish bar there that's triggered, pushed up. Got a bull bar in here now, another bear bar. So my gut feeling is it's probably likely going to push up, clear this out before it goes any lower. If it does, there's bound to be shorts in there, and that is such easy liquidity that I can't see it not at least popping above here before it does. Uh, yeah, it's going sideways, so usually it'll clear stuff on it in its path. Uh, There we go. That's the first bit out of the way. There's the second bit out of the way. You get used to seeing these, don't you? You know, you're about to see traders taking these, and all of a sudden you get triggered. It gives you another offer that gets triggered, and woof, up it goes, clears them both out. So, strong orders at 92.5, which is around about here. Around about there, which kind of is testing these lows, but I think really we got two legs down now. We've clearly had a break here, and we've made one leg down and a second leg down, so uh, I think it's pause it time now to give it a little bit of space. I don't want to just assume it's going to come straight down now. I do know we've got orders down here, but they are fading somewhat. Big bearish bar there. Technically a second entry short, but as I say, I'm just pausing things at the moment because I'm not sure. It's 19 ticks as well. You know, there's orders above and below at the moment. Okay, orders just below 95, which is there. Interesting that, but I'm sitting tight at the moment. It's the worst trade in the world, but the trouble is, while we've got a fair amount of sellers up here, I'm just sitting tight. It is two little pushes up, so it may work, but it's not for me at the moment. There you go. Two little legs up. There'll be traders trading that, that's for sure. Yeah, that's the beauty of having Bookmap. You can see the orders up here, can't you? And while they're sat there, you have to think, am I the smart one or are they? And while they're there, you have to just give it a bit of space. I can't tell you how many trades it's kept me out of. I got 10 accounts on the go. My average risk at the moment is about 3.5 to 4 points. That I could save me losing $2,000. You know, so it definitely helps. Hi everyone. I've been away from this stream for over a year. Last to see you avoiding bad shorts with all this selling it. It's masterful self-discipline. Thank you, mate. That's kind of you to say so. It's taken me 5 years though, mate, to be honest. So yeah, there are. Let me have a look. There are sellers up here, but I think that's a better option. But I'm just sitting tight at the moment because I'm not super sure what's going on. I think there's a fair chance we get down to this level for this measured move. But as this is played out, I think I just want to sit tight. Not only that, it's 24 ticks that. It's monstrous, isn't it? There are orders at 95 still there, right at the top of there. So just at the moment, I'm being a good boy and waiting. You know, in all honesty, with the accounts I got, if I got 2 clear winning trades per week, that would give me over $1,000 a month. You can have 10, 20, 30, 40 accounts. You can make humongous amounts of money. So if I take a couple of trades a week, if I wait for 2, if you take solid trades, that trade I took yesterday, trades like that just do not fail. They really don't. It's very rare for a trade that looks that clean to fail. But yeah, sometimes these will still work, but I think if you're not sure, you're still always best to just wait. Where is that trade? It's up here, wasn't it? That one there. Matt marked it as well. It looked better on my other chart, didn't it? But that was basically it. Got this move down. 2 attempts, 3 clear attempts. Pushed above this, trapped that bar, cleared any liquidity, and look at it come down. It looked a bit better yesterday. Obviously, these charts vary a touch, don't they? Yeah, if you get really good trades, you know the trades where you think, I like this, you just jump straight in. There's no arguments. You just jump straight in. You like it that much. I forget where it was here. It came down quick. That was it there. Yeah, it looked a little better yesterday. But technically it was a second entry short by the count because that triggered. But I like it because we had 2 attempts. Then we had that 3rd attempt, cleared all that, and then bearish, and then down it came. Yeah, if you wait for the good setups, the ones that you don't even question, I can't think of a time, very, very rarely, that these good setups I jump into fail. And I genuinely mean that. I could probably think, I can count how many times that's happened on one hand over the last 4.5 years I've been trading Pats. You know, good setups, they just don't fail. So if you're patient enough, when you get that little bit of skill over time and you're patient enough to wait, the temptation is to get into trades that, yeah, they don't look too bad. Rather than the ones, I like the ones that literally you're driving down the road and someone jumps in the middle of the road and wait. You can't miss them, can you? And those are the trades I like, the ones that literally jump out and wave in front of you, come and get me. It's not winners, it's not taking it. Absolutely, the losers take you so much longer because in most cases, especially with patch, you lose more than you win. And then it takes you probably 2 trays to finally get back in the green. So, never feel bad. I used to hate missing trays. I really don't care anymore. They don't bother me in the slightest because it tells me if something's not right, I've had the patience and the discipline to go, it doesn't feel right, leave it alone, regardless of how good it looks in half an hour. Because what we can't see, there may be another channel here, there may be something like this, and in about 4 hours, it may look that fantastic. You might go, well, why don't you take that 2 legs up? But at the time, you don't know that. And when you Mac or mark a chart, it's a piece of cake to come back later and mark a chart and see trades because you know where price went to. But, if all you can see is the current bar that's being printed, you got to make a decision on what you know, not, what you come back later and see what happened. So tempting, that one, I can see why traders, but I saw orders there, so I left it. What happened? Triggered it, pushed up. That didn't look fantastic. We had a strong move down, but it's just clearly choppy at the moment. So, the patience does come with time. Patience for me, I thought the patience would be my hardest thing to overcome. Now it's one of my stronger points. I still, on the rare occasion, jump into an impulsive trade sometimes, but they get less and less. And I generally believe all the bad, silly stuff gets less and less with experience. And I got to say now, every day I come here, I enjoy trading. I went through a stage of absolutely effing hating it. It used to make me miserable. I'd come downstairs, my heart would be pounding for half an hour. I'd be drinking too much scotch. I'd have ruined weekends. I feel down, depressed, miserable, out of control, like I was an addicted gambler. It was a horrible feeling. Now, it's hard to know how many other people go through the same thing. Now, there's probably some traders who do it to the extreme. Whether that was me or not, it's hard to tell. But we do all go through that phase of being, damn well frustrated. But if you just keep, I'm lucky in a way. I'm just kind of lucky that I can, take a whack on the chin and bounce back. Don't get me wrong, it hurts for a few days, but I'm just lucky I'm that type of person that I can seem to keep coming back to it. I don't know, perhaps it's addiction. But it does get better with time. It just takes a lot longer than you think it will. So at the moment, there's not really much you can do here. It's just chopping it. It may work, it may not, but it's more of a toss of the coin, this stuff. But that stays like the past month, absolute hate trait. Yeah, you do. You kind of have that love-hate relationship with it. But now, I enjoy sitting down at my chart because I feel like I'm my own boss. No one's telling me what to do, and I can sit in the comfort of my own home and chat to you people. So it's a quite pleasant place to be for me at the moment. So yeah, and I think really never worry about missing a trade. If something's not right, the sensible thing to do is to leave it. It doesn't matter how good it looks later, or it doesn't matter that half a dozen other people have taken it. That doesn't matter. You have to do what feels right with you. It's the only way you learn, really. You can't, copying. I used to think, oh, I wish I had someone to copy. Half a dozen times I must have asked Dan to live trade. I said I'd pay you $100 a month, and I think other people would, but copying someone else might make you a bit of money in the meantime. But if he decides to do something else, you're kind of screwed. 2 legs up, that's tempting. Bookmap, there's strong orders above me at the moment. Around about 87.5, so I can't take anything here. There. As tempting as it is with the bearish bar 2 legs there, with those orders there, I have to leave this. And in fact, they're going up as far as 800. So at the moment, got orders around about. In fact, easiest way to do it is I can see buyers around about the 97.5 to 800. So there. So at the moment, as tempted as that looks like 2 legs up with a bearish bar, I couldn't take it here until it's at least gone into this area. Trouble is, you've also got to be aware that we've had these 2 legs down now. Is this going to continue down, or is this going to start to move up? I can't see any type of another channel there, so maybe it's going to do a little bit of this rocking and rolling before it does what it does, but you don't know whether it's going to come down or reverse up. So you see that 2 legs up the bearish bar? I wouldn't take that because I know there's orders right above that bar. Now, 2 legs up like that, I guarantee there'll be traders taking that, and it may well work, but for me, seeing a stack of orders up here, it's just too risky. But if enough sellers like that and they sell, price will come down. At first glance, it looks okay. But I can see orders at 800. There was some at 975 here, but they're disappearing now, so it's mainly 800. But, you know, sometimes this thing saves me more than it doesn't. There's no second entry really there anyway. There is 2 legs up, but with those orders up here, I just decided to leave that. Now, it's 2 legs, it looks attractive. Yeah, you can see those aggressive sellers are climbing there, can't you? So this thing's being pushed down. So I wouldn't be surprised if this 800 area gets yanked. Yeah, there are orders there as well, right at the top. Bounce, bounce. It's a natural place to sell, you'd think there. If it's bouncing on this area a bunch of times, put a sell order there. If it comes back, happy days. You can clearly see it there. It looks better on my chart, actually. You can clearly see those orders there. Sat there. And then kind of when you zoom out, you can see it's already been up there and bounced twice. So, yeah, you've got 2 legs up. You never had a lower high there anyway. But if you took that, you did make your points clearly. But look at price now. We got a leg down, 2 attempts to push higher. How many times would that go down for a second leg? You'd have a leg down, 2 clear attempts, and then you'd have that for a second leg. And this may be it, pushing it down some more. But the trouble is, because I've got orders up here, and not only that, there are buy orders here before it gets down to the bottom. So they're trying to push this up. So, I mean, it's tempting. Looks like a lower high, doesn't it? 2 legs up, lower high. But for me, I think this price is going to push above here, at least temporarily. What time we got? Do you know how to remove previous blown accounts from Rhythmic? Yeah, they've changed it, haven't they? They've made it a little tricky now, haven't they? You think? I think if you look at active accounts, Yeah, you'll just have to play around with it. I've done it myself a few weeks ago because they've changed it all around and made it a little bit more tricky. So there you go. So 2 legs up, what happened? Price moved up. Now, the tendency when you have a leg down, 2 legs up, is to have a second leg down. But with the sellers up here, relatively strong, that wasn't going to happen to me. Fortunately, if you got in, you did make your money. Yeah, you'll just have to have a play around, mate. There's a way you go in to cancel an active subscription, and there's a way you go in to remove it from your Rhythmic dashboard. But yeah, you got to play around with it a bit. You'll get there, mate. Just click a few buttons, you'll figure it out. I managed to do it, mate. You're smarter than me. You'll be right. Okay, so there is a higher low here. Trouble is, we're already at the highs of this, and at the moment, you know, I think this could come down a bit, but I'd expect it to break. So yeah, that may have worked. Trouble is, there's not that much room to the highs, but I did expect a couple of legs. Trouble is, that bar there, we've already made a new high, so I'm happy to leave that one. If I can take 2 beautiful trades a week, I'm more than happy. So I don't feel the need or under pressure to take a trade anymore. I just wait for something good and take it. You know, it's rare you don't get a couple of good trades in a week. And if you wait for those good ones, you'll lose very few, really. Okay, so we've pushed up to this 800 area, and now we've got a bearish bar. So I'm doing absolutely nothing at the moment because I'm not 100% sure this thing is coming down. Because there are orders here, and there are orders a bit higher as well. Yes, there are some at 770. Where are they? 770, which is there. Now, yes, it may come down, but is it going to push up and test this area? Now, as I mentioned earlier, bounce, bounce, bounce. There are sellers up here. 750, about there, right at this level. So this to me looks like it's starting to push toward and test this level. So whether it comes down again or whether it pushes up, I don't know. What the hell's going on here? It's just chopping back and forth, really, isn't it? Christ on a bike. Oh, oh my God. My dog's has got a limp. My wife's just took it to the vets. £447. Holy hell. What's it had done? £447. Christ almighty. I'm going to need a scotch. Hold on here. 2 minutes. I'm in shock. £447. Only taking her for a checkup. That's her now. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so leg down, leg down. There is a lower high here, but it's just in the middle of this chop, so there's not really much you can do. Hmm. There's going to be a lot of liquidity down here. Let me see what I'm seeing. There is a second entry short. Channel down, second entry short there. Trouble is, it's very choppy and it could. What's going on here? There are buyers around about the 84-ish, which is below here. So I'm guessing prices probably... There are buyers around about there. So that might push price up if this triggers. So I'm just sitting tight. It's 16 ticks anyway. There's nothing left. So I'm just leaving it alone at the moment. Hmm. So some orders at 95, which is there. It's not super clear at the moment. Yeah, there are orders there. There are sell orders there, and there are some at 800, uh, which is right at the top here. So if you get in here, it may be a bit premature. So I think the simple answer is just to sit tight at the minute. It's just some aggressive sellers just sold there. Woof. Load of aggressive buyers there. That just rocket up. See the aggressive buyers there? It's not doing nothing though. It's getting a little bit volatile here now. I'm looking at this. It's just flickering backwards and forwards. There's a bit of a battle going on here. Uh, yeah, there's nothing I can do here. It's just too risky selling here at the moment. There are sell orders there, but if you look at this at the moment, it's just going a bit sideways. It does look like it may be looping down. There is a strong battle going on. Yeah, I agree. I can see bookmaps flickering around here. There are buyers and sellers coming in, literally aggressive buyers and sellers coming in at the same time. So there's nothing I could do here. I'm going to have to go, folks. My wife's just phoned me with bad news about one of my dogs, so she's a bit upset. So she'll be home in about a few minutes. So I'm going to go and have a chat with her. So I'll leave you guys to it. So no trades today. That's fine. I've got no issues with that. I haven't seen anything really that's jumped out at me. There was one somewhere, but it just took off before we even had any chance to get in. Yeah, thanks, mate. I know our dog, our older one, she's had cancer in the past, and I think it's come back. I think so. They're keeping her in overnight, but I don't think not good. I don't think so. So second entry short here. Yeah, I'm just sitting tight at the moment. So I'm going to leave you folks to it anyway. So best of luck to you. I hope you get us set up. Failing that, back tomorrow. It's Friday, and we'll do it all over again. Have a great evening. Stay safe, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.